Welcome back, everybody. This is BNSF RailNut doing another layout update for the North Metro Model Railroad Club. It's late July here, evening, nice little sunset. It's good weather out here, but I figured I'd start you guys out a little differently here by kind of getting you a view of the space as we enter it. So we kind of park our cars in the back here, and then this is basically the back wall of our building. So pretty sweet, I know that. But what we do, roughly got to hoof it up these steps here. Good old 1929 Coon Rapids Boulevard. And what we do is we walk down to our club. So got some other people, tenants in here. And what we do is come on downstairs. So what I'll do a little differently here. Normally I do the layout update. Nothing too crazy has changed to the layout, other than the fact of the new announcement that I did last night, or last video. So what that's going to entail is pretty cool. So it's actually the beginning of phase 2. I apologize, I'm going to be kind of halfway through the bench work once you see it, but I was on vacation last week, and one of our members, AJ, you give him wood, you give him some screws, and you'll see what the guy does in a week. Matter of about 5 days or so. So what we will do, we will walk over to the area that has become phase 2, and I'll do a little slower walk around of what we're actually doing. So coming around, we had the Saunders area, Saunders, Duluth, Boylston, whole 9 yards. So this was that first scenic portion of the layout, and as the tracks come around here, we have the Staples sub right here. Inside is the Staples main. This is the Hinckley cutoff. On the upper level you have the Staples tracks as well. So these will now eventually basically get cut off here, and we remove the scenery. So with these green dotted screws, we pull those out, and this whole chunk of bench work will actually come right out. So then we can tail these homoso tracks directly into the helix and kind of starts a descent. So what this will lead into is this. There it is. This is Northtown Yard on the right hand side, and on the lower level will be Duluth. So the bench work is up, it is built, minus one 8-foot section and then a 2-foot chunk basically in here to connect back up to the main layout. So back again, there it is, and kind of show you some of the bench work what we did here. So we'll start out with that, and then we'll do a walk around of the full layout. So going down underneath, we have two 36-inch sides on each portion, so you can get, I think, 13 tracks or 16 tracks maybe it is, because I think it's a total of 32 or 34 tracks across the whole bottom. But this will be basically the staging yards for the layout, basically just the hidden staging, more or less through train traffic, unit trains, special members. If they want to keep a train down on the layout, they can keep it down here, because there will be plenty of tracks, because this runs the entire distance, which I think is about 64 feet. So yeah, you're going to be able to get a lot of tracks and train in there. So that will come at a later date. It will connect to the layout via the helix right underneath there. And then starting out, we'll start on the Duluth side, on the back side here. So I want to say it's about 5 inches lower than the Northtown side, but 30-inch wide. Northtown will be 4 feet on the other side. But these decks sit right on top of the bench work and right in here. So they're all boxed out, so they can be disassembled like the regular layout. And then the bench work is modular too, so that can be disassembled as well. So everything is built with the purpose that if we do need to move and vacate the layout space, we can tear it down, bring it to a new layout, and kind of start over again. So continuing down Duluth, and then on these little portions, you see the pier marking on there. So this will actually be one of the Duluth piers that will jut out. And I think this first one here is a 5x8 size. And then over here you have an aisleway. We have another pier which is a 3-foot by 8-foot. We'll have another aisleway, and then a final pier 3-foot by 8-foot. And they all extend out And once they get to the track plan, we'll show you that as far as how the layout is done, or the piers happen. So continuing down to Duluth, and now we actually get into the homosote being laid down. So it's being just laid down flat. For the main line, we turn it upright, and then we actually have the rips that we actually just staple or screw 3 of them together, and that's the track size. So with that, this homosote's being laid out flat, because this is basically just all yards. But you can kind of see we had to actually lay some track down because this is the lowest level of the layout. So you'll actually see the tracks in place already for the reversing loops and so on. And so then we draw everything on the layout as first off. So we have the mains, you got an industry track coming over. So now we're into Minneapolis Junction. And anybody familiar with the Minneapolis area, this is basically this Y to the right is where the North Star trains go into the Target Stadium. And then these 2 tracks basically continue into Midway Yards, all points east basically, so Chicago. So that's where those 2 tracks will go into. And that guy right there is the guy that's responsible for this beast coming together in about 5 days. So you feed him, like I said, lumber, screws, and this is what he can do. So anybody looking for a layout to be built, contact me and I'll get in touch with AJ, and we'll go to town on your layout for you. So, but continuing west, we have basically the connection from the Minneapolis Junction down here, all the reversing loops, and running into Duluth as well. And then you start your incline up to get up to the main Northtown height. So now we're back up to Northtown deck height, and then just basically the yard kind of starts fanning out. So this piece right over here was something kind of a last minute change. We're actually going to be doing the CP showroom shops, which are in kind of Fridley, Columbia Heights, Minnesota. The roundhouse is still there. I think the physical footprint is there, but it's all decrepit and kind of defunct and everything. So, but we're going to bring it back. We're also be putting in a 130-foot turntable to allow big boys and stuff like that to be spun around. So, and then I think depending on the stall arrangement, you'll have anywhere from looks like 15 to 21 stalls, and they're all based on the Walters kits and everything. So that will be pretty dang sweet once it's built up. You'll still have your 2 or 3 tracks around, which get us into other portions, and I can kind of touch on that here in a little bit. This will be the location of Malt 1, which is just a grain mill by the showroom yards. And then backing out here, we basically have kind of University Junction for the BNSF. So this is where all the signal bridges will be for all the traffic heading to Chicago, heading northbound or westbound, continuing into the yard. And basically you have the start of the T-yard or the transfer yard. And so that will wrap around here and then continue into the rest of the yard down in there, and we'll get to that here. So the track you see rising up to your right is basically the CP main line that will continue westbound into Humboldt. So what we'll do on the layout is we'll actually have this bridge over, just like in real life, just like the prototype, and that will connect into the staging yards, and also we might do a mock-up of the Target Stadium, stuff like that, but that will get around that corner and then continue to the 2nd Street and the Monticello subs. So those will be on that west wall. And that's, if you can see in the camera, the stuff, you can see the grain mills, kind of the stuff over there way on that far wall. So that's how that portion will connect via extra track back in here. And so that track will connect there, and then it ramps down, comes into here, and then these tracks will continue back around behind Malt 1, behind the roundhouse, and then connect back with the BNSF main lines over here. So, back out of University Junction, we're coming around into, we're still in the T-yard, we're going to come up on the class yards, but I'll touch on this real quick. We actually cut out, I think it's 8 inches or so of the homosote, because this bed portion will be stacked vertically. So this will be the traditional road bed, because this will be basically where the 2 main lines run. It will be flush with the bottom here, so it'll actually have a little bit of a rise. I think it's a 1/4 inch above the main grade, so that'll give that distinction of the main line. So
bye, Mitch.
Bye, Jeff. We'll see you guys later. There's Jeff, one of our guys for the DCC and stuff. So, but there's those guys. They're taking off. So back to the layout. The two hidden tracks. Basically, these two tracks right here are the tracks that come out of Minneapolis Junction. So you got those tracks basically heading to Chicago. So these technically could go to Chicago, all points west, whatever, Norfolk Southern, stuff like that. And these will continue to carry down. You can see them pop out back there, and then they will run the entire length and enter into the helix down there. So backing off, you can see all the switches are also put in. So these two switches are the reversing loops that come back into Duluth. So that'll allow you a reverse run, just continuous running, and meet back up dead center. And so you got your clearance. Those tracks come in, and then we'll have a double slip here, so you can get from the outside to, or the inside, outside to outside. You can also go outside to inside, and so on and so forth. So continuing around, we're on the other side of the reversing loop here. So these trains will go back to Duluth, and then these tracks will continue to the helix. So backing up here, we'll have the Sioux line crossing over Northtown Yard, continuing off over to Humboldt. And then you have your T-Yard coming in here. We'll have the rip shop tracks up in here in this area. And then if I were to pull this out, we've actually drawn it out already as far as on the paper. The schematic for how the layout is actually blown out here. So continuing down to Northtown.
Oil-based primer or something.
Stuff I have, or all of it.
The casting resin.
So this is an older aerial view of the Northtown Yard. So we have the hump,
Craig's module poured in, looked awesome for about 5 minutes. It was like
the hump will physically be right about this portion of the layout, and just kind of open up to the bowl and everything. What you're seeing here on the deck here is a lot of switches. I think there's a total of 80 of them that just came in today, so we'll actually be able to lay some switches down and start the ladders. And then you need rail joiners, so we just ordered up 1,000 of them. Detailed part kits, more bulk rail for custom switches if need be. And then the other fun thing that showed up is the flex track. Each one of those cases holds 25 pieces of flex track, and I think there's 20 of them there for, I don't know, I don't even want to do the math, it's a lot. So you got a lot of track in there. And let's see, oh, those are both empty. So they've been using track already, but that will be the track for about 70% of the layout as it sits right now. So kind of coming back. This is the beginning of the arrival yards. You got your long departure yard tracks on the main line, or running alongside of it. The diesel shops will be in this portion. So you'll have your diesel shops, ready tracks, and then the hump, like I said, will be in this portion too, right around the switch location. So nice long tracks. Capacity is just ridiculous. I mean, 24 cars each track. 96 cars for that yard itself. Hump track, it's got to be left open for humping the cars, and it will be a working hump. So we're going to just keep trying out some different things and making sure the retarders kind of work for the systems we have in mind. So we'll be playing with that pretty soon as well. So that is kind of a nutshell recap here of what we've been doing the past week. I think they started this last Friday. The first portion of the legs went up, and if you watch us on Facebook, you can kind of get them more up to date, especially from AJ. When he's down here working, he'll normally snap off a couple pictures and post them on the Facebook site, so you can kind of get some more up to date, more current, because I'm a little slower at getting these things uploaded, and I catch a lot of grief from the guys in the club, but hey, it takes some time to get these things uploaded, so you got to bear with me. I try to get them as current and quickly updated as I can, but it doesn't always happen. So back down here real quickly before we go, Just the near side staging yard. Like I said, there'll be just basically sheets across there, and I want to say 16, 18 tracks. I don't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it's a lot of storage tracks on there. It's like 2,000 feet of track we need again. So that's about that. You got your row bed too, but yeah, I will shoot the next video, and hopefully we'll have physical track on here so you can kind of see what it looks like, and maybe a train even running, so who knows. And I will try to get that update up as quick as I can. And again, thanks for watching, staying around with the videos, and we will see you guys very soon. Bye-bye.